Hi everyone, today I'm going to be talking about the problematic marijuana policy in the United States, and my name is Carly Kidwell. Oops. Every 60 seconds, a American is arrested for marijuana possession. That is about one every minute, so every 60 seconds, one person is arrested for marijuana possession, and that's going to total up to about 600,000 arrests annually, according to procon.com. So that's obviously a very big issue. So my purpose today is to enlighten you all for the demand for change in the current policy, because it is limiting to the United States and can very easily be changed for the entire country's best interest. Oops. So what is the policy and what is the problem? Basically, the current policy is that marijuana is legal for recreation on many state levels, but it is not legal federally. So right now that's a really big conflict between the state and federal governments, and it creates a really hard juxtaposition for people because they're allowed by their state but not their federal government, and that creates a lot of gray areas. And basically now this has become a majority versus minority issue, so it's very controversial. Actually, over half of Americans now are approve of the legalization of marijuana. So in 1969, only 12% of the public was approving of marijuana legalization. And down here there's a little graph provided by Gallup, who did this study, and they basically provide the approval rating throughout the years, which is now most recently at 64%, making the majority of people for legalization. So with all that public support, there's really simple solutions. Basically, we need federal legislation to basically just take marijuana off narcotic scheduling federally. So taking it off the narcotic scheduling would make it no longer a drug and therefore no longer prohibited use and possession. According to an expert in cannabis reform, Dale Sky Jones, he stated that it's up to Congress now to uphold the will of the American people or allow the destruction of American jobs and the crippling of a nascent American industry because of one official's outdated prejudice. Basically, if Congress does not take action, it's destroying an entire industry that has already been built on state marijuana use, and it would really destroy the ability for many jobs to be created and much revenue for the U.S. economy. So stagnation is no longer an option. With those simple solutions come big benefits. It would just simply changing the narcotic scheduling would reduce conflict in the United States, which would help with overall public opinion of the government and support of the government. So this would reduce conflict, first of all, state and federal power struggle between rules and regulations. So right now that's a conflict, and some would argue that it makes us look bad that we're not in agreement between these two levels of government. It would also reduce the conflict between American citizens, the law enforcement, and the law enforcement and organized crime like Mexican drug cartels. So making marijuana legal, according to the American Civil Liberties Union, the legalization of marijuana in Washington and Colorado alone saved or caused a loss of $2.7 billion for Mexican drug cartels. And lastly, there's a conflict of race and systematic racism. So basically, the current political climate in the United States is very high on race tensions, and currently African Americans are 3.73 times more likely to be arrested for marijuana possession or a marijuana-related crime than a white person. So even though people of color and white people use marijuana at the same rates, people of color are almost 4 times more likely to be arrested. And so reducing this completely would just help with racial tensions a lot between law enforcement and citizens of the United States. And that's according to New York Times. So why should we do this? Basically, the return on investment is very high. It's a very low investment for a very high return, with not only revenues, but jobs and etc. So basically, there are 3 types of kind of revenue-related things that would happen. So there would be the increased profit of marijuana sales in the entire industry. And then the tax revenue that can be created from the use of marijuana, the legal sale of marijuana. So in Colorado, between 2016 and 2017, $145 million were put into public programs and the education. So that's all tax dollars generated from the sales of marijuana. And that is according to procon.com as well. So it is estimated that by 2020, the legalization of marijuana would create 300,000 jobs. So that all of those jobs would help the economy, and that's according to Representative Earl Blumenauer. So as you can see, with this really simple solution, there are really big returns, and that's why this is a great policy change. So basically, in conclusion, the current marijuana policy is just not working. It's limiting success of the United States, and it's maximizing waste on those 600,000 incarcerations that happen yearly. So after incarcerating those people, it costs a lot of money to house them. So releasing these people, stopping the enforcement of marijuana-related crimes would help not only to create revenues, but also reduce the amount of waste on marijuana incarcerations. So basically, Congress, it's up to people to elect the officials that are going to make change, and it's up to those officials to change the current policy. So thanks for listening.